All right, this segment is on trial, close, close. And there's a reason I use that phrase. Hopefully, if you've done everything right, you're in a comfortable situation with the doctor, you've had a comfortable exchange, and you're ready to think about maybe getting a commitment to use your product. Now, I would teach this to my people as a two-step process. First of all, I would teach them to say something like, now, based on what we've talked about, Dr. Jones, how would you feel about maybe trying my product? And usually, now you're not asking for a definite yes right yet. How would you feel about it? And usually the doctor will think about it. Well, it sounds good. I'll consider it. That's usually what you would hear. And so that gets you halfway home. So at least the doctor is thinking about the fact that he or she will be willing to try it. And so you're halfway home, as I said. And so now you can go for the definite yes. Well, let me ask you this. I've got plenty of samples. If I leave you enough samples for maybe a half a dozen patients, that's always a good number. I don't know why. Maybe a half a dozen patients. I don't say 6, I say half a dozen. I don't know why, but it sounds better. I'll leave you plenty of samples for half a dozen patients. Would you give it a try? Would you give it a try? Now you're asking for a definite yes. And so usually the doctor, because you've done everything right and you're not doing a pressure close, the doctor will usually say, okay, I'll give it a try. Now, there are 3 possibilities. They could say it and mean it and do it. They could say it and mean it, but forget to do it, or they could be lying to you just to get rid of you. Any of those 3. They could say yes and do it, they could say yes and forget to do it, or they could say yes and just be lying to you to get rid of you so they can go see their next patient. But hopefully they're going to say yes and mean it, and they are going to give it a try. And so you're going to leave samples for half a dozen patients. Now add this, and this is very important. Okay, well listen, I'll be back in 6 weeks, and I'll look forward to talking to you to see how it's working for you. That puts a little bit of accountability into the doctor's brain that you're going to come back in 6 weeks and you're going to want to know how it's working. So the doctor might be a little more obligated to actually do it. Now, I said 90% of the time they will say, okay, I'll try it. 10% of the time, they'll say no. Usually it's a softer no. It's like, I'm not really ready yet, I don't think. That's okay. Don't consider that a failure. That's a success. You've traded a lot of information. You've exchanged a lot of ideas. You've built relationship up with this doctor. That's all okay. If they say, no, I'm not quite ready, accept that. That's okay. You might, on the way out, say, well, I've got a couple of research papers I'll bring in next time that I'd like to show to you. So I'll see you in 6 weeks. And so you have successfully trial closed and closed. I'll throw out one little tidbit more. As you leave, there's a thing called the doorknob close, and I'm going to tell you this just because I do think this actually happens. When the call is over officially, the doctor's resistance is down. It's just a natural thing. And so they might be more amenable to some suggested trial. So going out the door, grab the doorknob. You don't have to grab the doorknob, but that's what it's called. The doorknob closed, and turn around and say, I just remembered a research paper I've got in my car that shows so-and-so. I'll bring that in and leave it on your desk for you. And so for some reason, they're more acceptable to new ideas after the call is over officially because their resistance is down. Okay, that's trial close, and even a little segment on the doorknob close.